Of the Israel-Hamas ceasefire in Gaza and the return of Israeli hostages and prisoners on Monday has many in Maine feeling relieved.
Rabbi Erica Ash at Temple Bethel in Augusta says the last 2 years have been very difficult for the Jewish community. She says members of the synagogue have really been struggling to make sense of what happened on October 7th, 2023, when Hamas attacked Israel, and what those in Gaza have been experiencing.
She says seeing the reunion videos this week was truly incredible. Starting last year, Temple Bethel began hosting dialogues with members, welcoming different views on the situation.
Really with the feeling that we all have very different feelings about what's happening, right? And that despite our differences that we might have, we should be able to talk with one another in this community and be able to stay in community. And I think it's really a model for what we see even in our country, that we're divided and fractured in our country. But how can we have discussions with people with whom we might disagree and stay in community with them, even if we're on opposite sides sometimes?
Rabbi Ash says those discussions will continue once a month through June.